Hey everyone, it's Amber here and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be learning how to play I've Got a Name by Jim Croce. Now this is a super fun song to play on the acoustic guitar. You're going to need a handful of open chords as well as 2 bar chords. Now in order to play this song in the original key, you're going to need to put a capo onto the 2nd fret of your guitar. Now whether you are working on smooth chord transitions or building up your strumming endurance, this song is perfect for leveling up your guitar playing. So go grab your guitar and let's jump into the lesson today. So let's start off by looking at the chords we need in the song. So the first chord we need is a D major chord. We also need an A major. We have a G major chord. We also need C major. And we also have 2 7th chords. Now the first 7th chord we need is an E7, which is like a regular E major with our ring finger lifted up off of the strings. And we're also going to need a B7 chord. This is a little bit tricky to play. With practice, I promise it's going to get much easier. Now a great tip here when learning a chord that you find difficult is to form the chord as fast as you can, give it a strum, and then to shake your hand out. Then you're going to form the chord again as quickly as you can, give it a strum, and shake your hand out. This is just going to help you with developing that very important muscle memory. Now we also need 3 bar chords for the song. They are unfortunately unavoidable, but do not fear, with practice you are going to be able to nail this. So the first chord we need is a B minor. Now a B minor chord is traditionally played as a bar chord, where we'll be barring our first finger in the 2nd fret relative to the capo, and we're going to be using an A minor chord shape. Now if this is too difficult for you and you may be not getting a very good sound, sometimes you'll get muted strings when playing bar chords, I'm actually going to be using my easy version of a B minor chord, which technically can be called an open chord. So we're going to be placing our first finger into the 2nd fret on the high E string, 2nd finger into the 3rd fret on the B string, and then we're going to be placing our 3rd finger into the 4th fret on the D string, and we're going to tuck our pinky right underneath in that 4th fret on the G string. And we're just going to be strumming from the D string down. And this is a great alternative to that bar chord. And you're going to notice that B minor is played quite frequently throughout the song, so this is a great alternative if you're struggling with that B minor bar chord. So the next bar chord we need is called an F sharp minor bar chord, where we're going to be taking our first finger and again barring it in the 2nd fret relative to the capo, and we're going to be adding an E minor chord shape. And we're going to strum all the strings. Now if this is too difficult for you, then you are welcome to use an F sharp power chord. Now for this, we don't need to bar all of the strings. All we need to do is squeeze down the low E string in that 2nd fret, and we're just going to strum the E, A, and D strings. And this is a great alternative if those bar chords are a little bit tricky for you. And the final bar chord we need is an F sharp major chord. So it's almost exactly the same as the F sharp minor. All we're going to be doing is adding that 2nd finger down onto the G string in the 3rd fret, because we're going to be creating an E major chord shape. Now if these bar chords are something you're struggling with, maybe you are confused as to why I'm referring to major and minor chord shapes, and you're just curious to learn a bit more about how bar chords work, then I really encourage you to check out my guitar course, Let's Level Up. In my guitar program, we go into lots of detail on how to play power chords as well as bar chords. I also teach you all about fretboard navigation so that you understand why we play bar chords the way that we do. So if that's something that would interest you, then click the link below this video, and I really hope to welcome you into the Let's Level Up guitar program. Right, so now that you have all those chords under your fingers, we're going to have a look at the verse of the song. So to start off really simply, we're just going to practice with one down strum on each chord. Now the song can come across as quite overwhelming at first because the chord sequences are quite long, but do not fear, it's going to come more naturally with time and practice. So the chords are going to be up on the screen for the first half of the verse. So we have a D major to an A, we have B minor for 2 rounds, we're then going to go to a G major, to our A, and 2 rounds on our D chord. Now each of those chords are going to be held for 2 counts. So we have 1, 2 to the A, 2, B minor, and G, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2. So spend some time now, if you want to pause the video with the chords up on the screen, just practice strumming each of those chords and holding them for 2 counts each. What we can even do now is add in some singing with those 1 down strums on each of the chords. So starting on the D, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and D. Like the pine trees, A chord to the B minor again. I've got a G and A. I've got a D chord and D chord again. So if you've got the first half of the verse, let's take a look at the second half of the verse. The chords are going to flash up onto the screen, and the first line of chords is exactly the same as from the beginning of the verse. We have D to an A, 2 rounds on B minor. The next line of chords, we're going to have E7 for 2 rounds. 1, 2, 1, 2, and A for 2 rounds. 1, 2, 1, 2. So let's try and put that second half of the verse together, starting on the D major. Ready? 2, 3, 4, and D. Like the singing A chord and the B minor. I've got an E7. I've got an A, and A again. You can play the whole song just using 1 down strum on each of the chords if that is the level that you're at. Maybe you're wanting to just focus on your chord transitions and getting those chords sounding really smooth, then by all means just focus on that 1 down strum. But if you're wanting to challenge yourself and maybe incorporate a strumming pattern, we're going to use a strumming pattern that sounds like this: down, 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 up. And we're going to count this: 1, 2, and a. And that is literally as short as a strumming pattern is for each of the chords. So the D would get down, 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 up, and then we'd change very quickly to the A, down, 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 up. So if we just have a look at that first part of the verse again, this is how it would sound. G, A, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. And a small tip here for you: when you are transitioning between 2 chords, for example, the D to the A chord, you're going to want to use that final up strum of the strumming pattern as a transition point. So instead of holding the D chord for every single strum, you're going to hold it for the first 3 down strums. When you get to the up strum, you're going to take your fingers off of the chord so that you can come down nice and strong on beat 1 of the A. The up strum, you lift all your fingers to get ready for the B minor. The final up strum, we lift our fingers to get ready for the G. Lift, lift. So that final up strum is going to be played with open strings whenever there is a chord transition taking place. Now, you might think that that is going to sound very weird, and I promise you it won't, because it's going to be happening so quickly, you won't even hear those open strings ringing out. So if I played for you up to speed with the strumming pattern, it will sound like this. 2, 3, 4. Now, if this video has been helpful, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Your support really helps me in being able to bring more lessons like this to you every single week. So thank you very, very much. So what we need to do next is take the chords, the strumming pattern, put it together in the verse, and add some singing. So if you think you're ready to join me, then let's give it a go. Starting on the D. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the pine trees lining the winding roads, I've got a name, I've got a name. Like the singing bird and the croaking toads, I've got a name, I've got a name. Great job. So what we're going to be doing next is jumping into the pre-chorus. So the pre-chorus, the chords are going to change completely, but the good news is that that strumming pattern is going to remain the same. So this is where we're going to be featuring that F sharp minor and F sharp major chords. So they're going to be up on the screen so you can follow along. The first chord we need is an F sharp minor. Remember, you can always play your power chord here instead. So we have F sharp minor to our G, to D major, to F sharp major. We're going to go to a B minor next, to E7, and to A. So that's quite a marathon for your fingers. We are changing shapes consistently throughout this pre-chorus. We are having to go from a bar chord to an open chord, and then from open chord back to a bar chord, and so on and so forth. So really take your time here to try and internalize those chord transitions. And even though there isn't much of a chord sequence or any pattern, you can still use your ear to guide you into whether it's a major chord or a minor chord, or just rely on the music up on the screen. I try to always have the chord sequences up on the screen for you so that you can follow along without having to guess or remember the chord sequence. So let's try it again. We're going to start from the F sharp minor chord. And remember, each chord is going to have 2 counts. So we're going to start with just 1 down strum on each chord. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, to the D, F sharp major, B minor, to E7, and A. Repeat the A. All right, let's add some singing in to that section. 2, 3, 4. And I carry it with me like my D chord, F sharp major, but I'm living the B minor to E7, that he kept A again. So pause the video here if you want to practice the chord transitions. If you're feeling confident, we're going to go on to adding in that strumming pattern. Remember, it sounds like this: down, 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 up. 1, 2, and a on each of the chords. So I'll play a demo for you first. 2, 3, 4. G, D, F sharp, B minor, E7, and A. So why don't you join me and we can play it a little slower, starting on the F sharp minor. 2, 3, 4. And I carry a G chord like my daddy did, but I'm living the dream. E7 and to the A. And the final section of the song we're going to be learning today is the chorus. So the chords are going to be up on our screen. We're going to be starting on an F sharp minor chord. We're going to G, back to F sharp minor, and this is where we're going to be changing to that B7 chord, to our G, and to our A chord. So that's the crux of the chorus. Let's try that again. Remember, we're going to be doing 2 counts on each chord. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, F sharp minor again, B7, and to the G, and to the A. If that's sounding good and you're feeling confident, then let's add in our pattern, down, 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 up on each of the chords. 2, 3, 4, down, 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 up G, F sharp minor, and the B7, G chord, and to the A chord. Last time with some singing. 2, 3, 4. Moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me. And in this last section, we have a very cool sounding guitar riff. Now, it's going to replicate what we hear in the song being played on the bass guitar. So I'll give you a demo of what those bass guitar notes are going to be sounding like. So that's what we're going to want to hear coming out in this section of the riff. Now, of course, we have a guitar which is used for not only playing individual notes, but also chords. So I thought we could learn how to play that bass guitar riff on the guitar using some chords. So it's going to sound something like this. So we're going to maintain the last few notes as just individual notes, but the rest of it we're going to be adding in some chord shapes. So the first chord that we're going to use is a C. And you're going to want to focus on just strumming the A, D, and G strings. The next chord we're going to be going to is sort of like a B over C. We're going to take our second finger into the second fret on the A. And we're also going to just focus on those middle strings, the A, D, and G strings. So we have C, B over C. We're then going to go to an A minor 7 chord. We're then going to reach our ring finger up into the 3rd fret on the E string. And we're going to kind of be playing a sort of G chord here. We don't really want to hear that first finger, so you could almost lift it up and take it away completely for this section. So those are the chords that we're going to be playing in this. So to just practice changing between them first. So we have the C, B over C, A minor 7, and then that G in the bass. And the last couple of notes are going to be played individually, where we're going to be playing our second finger, squeezing down the lower E string in the 2nd fret, and hammering on the 3rd finger into the 3rd fret. So we have. And the final note is an open A string. All right. So 2nd fret, hammer on 3rd fret, open A string. And in the first chorus, we repeat that twice. Before moving on into the D major chord. So why don't we go ahead and put that entire chorus together with that riff coming in at the end. So we're going to start on that F sharp minor chord. 2, 3, 4. Moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me by. Now you'll notice in the play along, I'm going to be adding in some strumming into that riff just to fill it up a little bit. Of course, you can play it the way we've learnt it, which is all just down strums. But the way I like to play it is with a little bit more feeling and really leaning into my musicality to bring out the riff. So the way I'll do it is going to sound something like this. So I'm just using a combination of down and up strums. So spend some time experimenting with that and really leaning into what feels comfortable for you as a guitarist at the level that you are at the moment. So I've zoomed in for a close-up to teach you that beautiful picking part that we hear at the very start of the song. Now, this is something that really grabbed my attention the first time I ever heard the song, and it's going to sound something like this. It's really beautiful and quite straightforward once you get the hang of it. So this picking part is going to revolve around a D major chord. But what we're going to be doing is starting the picking with our middle finger lifted up off the strings. This is called a D sus2 chord. So what we're going to be doing is starting off by picking out the individual strings that we would usually strum all at the same time. So we're going to pick out the D, the G, the B, and the E. So just practice getting that sounding nice and smooth first. The next part is we're going to be going to the G string, G, B. We're going to pick the E string and hammer on our second finger. So up till there. Moving on to the next bar, we're going to be maintaining that D major chord. So after we've hammered on, we're going to keep that second finger down, and we're going to pick the G, the B, and the E string, and we're going to pull off that second finger. Right, so from the beginning, what we've got so far. So started off with a D sus2, G, B, hammer on, G, B, pull off. And the last two notes are the G and B. So the whole thing. And then it gets repeated again. So my advice would be to practice playing this picking part really slowly, and once you have memorized the sequence and the pattern and the strings that need to be played as well as the strings that need to be hammered on and pulled off, then you can start to increase the speed and try to play along with my play along or even with the original track. So now that we've learned all the sections to this amazing song, what we're going to be doing next is a mini playthrough of the song. So get your guitar ready and let's go have some fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. like the pine trees lining the winding road. I've got a name, I've got a name, like the singing bird and the croaking toad. I've got a name, I've got a name, and I carry it with me like my daddy did. But I'm living the dream that he kept his, moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me by. Like the north wind whistling down the sky, I've got a song, I've got a song, like the whip-poor-will and the baby's cry. I've got a song, I've got a song, and I carry it with me and I sing it loud. If it gets me nowhere, I'll go there proud, moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me by. So that's a wrap of today's lesson. I hope you had lots of fun jamming with me today. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the song tutorial and if there are any other songs you'd like me to teach in the future. Until next time, I can't wait to play along with you in another song tutorial. Have a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye!